Hello friends, hope you all are good, doing great. So in this video I'm going to discuss about my project deployment for industry safety detection. So I'll not be deploying this project in a cloud in this video. In the consecutive video I'll do that, but why I'm doing this, because I was the project is working fine in local environment. However, when I tried to deploy this in a Docker or in a cloud, it is not giving me anything is not happening. Means I cannot see the results. So I what I have to do, I have to debug it. So I in this video I'll let you know what I have done, the changes, and how you can do the debugging and all, and trying to find out that why it is not working. If it is for your case also, it could be the case that it will not work in somewhere someplace. So this is one of the way which I found I can do that, so maybe it will help you out. Let me see first that this application is working locally or not, and I'll also let you know that what all the changes I have done here, and then I'll let you know. So let me open the terminal. Let me switch to my uh, environment. This is my environment. Now let me start the application. So server is started. This is my repository. So I'll let you know what all the changes I have done here. Okay, and then I'll localhost 8080. Okay, so this is opening. I'll put any picture, input image, predict. So my results will come here. In this you can see that it's converting and everything is happening. Let's see how much time it will take. Okay, so now I can see the results are in the local. I think it's for all of you was also working fine. Now thing is, it's not working for production, means or not on working on the cloud for anyone when you do the deployment. I'm not sure if you have done. Please do let me know how you have done, because for me it was not working. So I have done some changes. Let me know. uh, let me show you. The first change is what I have done in the app.py. I have added a downloading this from S3. If you know that this the model of this project, find it, because the size is high, is heavy. It's around 74-75 MB. It cannot be come in the GitHub, so we have to, instead of adding up in the GitHub, we have to put it in S3 bucket. So this is I'm downloading it. uh, Here it's before I do the predict and the predict root, and then before I am doing it predict, I am just doing the download from S3. So model is downloading here. So once that model is downloaded, it is fine. So this is one change. So for this I have done the changes in component, sorry, in the utils as well, main.utils, or somewhere in the S3 utils, or somewhere I have done that, some configuration. Yeah, S3 operation. So here we already have the download function for all the utilities of S3s, like download, is model present, and get file object. There are a lot of S3 operations are happening over here. So this is already happening in this. I have just reused in app.py and done that. Maybe you have already done, and it's fine if you have already done. Not, then you can check out my, or you can clone my repository and do that. The other changes what I have done is basically, when you deploy this in local, you are using a Python. It's same Python you have to use, but when you do the deployment in Linux, right? So when you do the deployment in Linux, you have to use Python 3 detect what the function. The code is same, because this code we have written it in notebook first, and that we have taken it in as a modular coding in our in all these folders, or it's a structured way, as a oops oriented way. So this is how we have done. So basically I have used a function called to detect what operating system it is. So in my case, if it's a Linux, it's running this Python 3, and when it is my local, it is basically using this one. So only for Linux it is I am using a Python 3. The similar changes also I have done it in this changes I have done it in app py, and when you have to do that model training, that time also it is required. So let me open the model training as well. Model training is there in here, and you can find it here, the same code here. So it is also showing that it is what operating system you are using it. So I've added some extra special character so that you know that it is coming from here. I have added a print as well. So that's why if you see in the code in this one, you can see this as well. It is showing that Mac. So for you it is basically Windows or Linux. If it's a Linux, I'll use this one. So now the question is what all the changes are required. I have added a detect OS in the utils, one function. In the utils I have added detect OS. It's detect, simply it detects which operating system it is and just give the return to it. The same thing I am means the result I am using it and detecting. Okay, if it is a Linux, then do the Python 3, otherwise Python. So this is the only change I have done for the coding side. Now the question is how I'll have to do the deployment, because I don't want to do the deployment in my cloud again. If I'll do my deployment in cloud again and it's runs with issues, I don't know what is wrong and what is right, what is happening, because it's very difficult sometimes to debug in the cloud. If you know, I have to enable a lot of things like CloudWatch and other things where I can see my logs for ECR, AWS ECR and all. So what I have done, I have added two things here. This is one of the file here, step to deploy locally on Docker. So what I'll do, I'll for my case I have already have a Docker here. So in local system you have to install Docker. If you have a Windows, then you can use the way means it's you can search for the docker.com, Docker installation on Windows, search. So it will give you the way of your operating system. It will give you how you have to install on Mac, install on Linux. So whatever way you want to do that. So this is the way I have written it in the Linux. So in Apple also you have two versions. So if you are using Windows, then you can install it here like this. So after installation you can if you have to just do that. Let me stop the server now, because now server is not required. Okay, now Control C. I hope so. When you do the deployment, you have to just type Docker, so or Docker version. So whichever operating system you are using, this command is same. So means let me see if you can see that. Let me make it a little bit here. Docker minus version. So if you have installed the Docker and everything is working fine, then as I showed here, this file in my local, it's file. So this is also I have added in my repository. So step to locally using this. So yeah. So you can see that I have added all the commands here one by one. So I will skip this command for the installation of Docker. The rest of the commands I will use. So means after installation of Docker, you can start from the Docker image. So what I am doing it, basically to let you know, I'm installing a I'm creating pulling up a Docker Ubuntu image from Docker Hub, and then I'm going inside this Docker Hub, and I'm starting this Docker, creating a container of this Docker, and in an interactive manner. Once that Docker starts, I can also see this is for the just for you to check that container has been started or not. Once that container has been started, you can go inside this container with this command. Now, since it is a Docker, so you don't need any sudo command, so you have to just execute this commands of update the Ubuntu. So this is again your means it is you are locally or in a Docker you have installed the Ubuntu, and then you have to install AWS CLI, and then you have to do the AWS configure, and once you will configure all these things, then you have to install Python pip. This is one of the command I found when I was doing an deployment. I have one of the command where I have done some means found that this is also required. This is not required, so we can remove it. I'll remove it later once I'll done. So let me comment it so that it will not give any confusion. Okay, sorry. So you also have to install Git because you have to clone your repository. You have to deploy your install Nano. Why it is? Because you have to maybe if required to debug or you have to see the logs, then you need Nano or VI. So I'm installing both. Unzip is also required because maybe in cloud when you install Ubuntu and all, unzip is already there, but in Docker case unzip is not there. And in fact, I do let you know that I have also added this unzip in my requirement.txt. I have added it. So let me go back to my this. Yeah. So once this one is done, Git is done, everything, all these things are done. I have installed, I have cloned this repository, my repository. I go inside my repository. I'll install all dependencies, means requirement.txt. This is everything I'll do it inside my Docker image of Ubuntu, and then I'll check once AWS version and I just start the application. So this is what I'm going to do now, and once this is done, I can start my application and I can see that the changes. So I have stopped my server and I'll do all these steps as mentioned in this document one by one. So as I already have the Docker in my local environment installed, so I'll have to start from this step where I'll have to pull the image, Ubuntu image. Let me clear up the screen. I don't need this. Okay, and I also stopped the server. Here, let me verify. Yeah, I already stopped the server, so I'll refer it here. Okay, this one first. Okay, I was thinking to open another window. Let me start this one. So first step, this is basically downloading the Ubuntu image from the Docker Hub. Then just create the container. So verifying this container, you can check this container thing with this command. So one container is container ID is this, and because this container ID needed, I'll have to do this. I have to go inside this container, right? So I have to copy this container ID and paste it here, and then I'll have to do the bin bash as well. Copy and then paste. So now you can see that it is I am connected to my container. Let me clear the screen. So I am inside my container. I have done this. I have copied this one, and then let me start update this Ubuntu. So there are few process will be complete so fast, and some of the downloads will take time. So next command. Whenever it will go down, let me clear the screen and then start installing this AWS CLI. So after this, I'll configure the AWS. I will do the AWS configure. For me, it is asking for the country code or things like this. I'm just choosing my countries as per requirement. So I'll have to choose this, as I mentioned, that choose the region and country. Okay, now go to the next command, AWS configure. But for this, I need my access key and secret access key. So let me open another one, terminal. Let me go to my home, and then .aws is a hidden folder. Inside this ls, so I have this file credentials. So similarly, we'll also have this in Windows as well. This is what basically you need when you will create any AWS login ID and passwords. You need it. You will create the IAM user. For our project, if you have already done, then you also have to create this IAM user for uploading your model into S3. So wherever it is, you have to configure it this way. So let me do this. So this is the one I'm using it. This is no more require. Okay, then I'll go back to my the Docker one. I'll paste my this access key ID, and similarly I'll take my secret access key. So these things I'll delete it later, and then my region is US East 1, and then nothing. Okay, after this you can choose JSON for the output and or leave it blank. Then I have to install Python, then pip, once this is installed, I'll have to install this library. I'm not sure for what this one right now, but this is required for which is not available in this Docker image, so I have to install it. So this one installed, and then after that CLEAR, and then install git, install nano. One second, this git, after git I'll install this one, clear, then nano, then vi. So if you are using Ubuntu, then it's all apt-get, otherwise it will be all yum. Unzip. Now I have to clone my repository, which is basically, it is cloning from GitHub. So it is not from my local. So whatever it is there in my GitHub, it is coming in this. So let me do that, and then this one is here. Go inside this one, and folder of industry safety, whatever in my repository, pip install requirement. So my requirements are installing, or dependency what you can say is installing this one. So I'll also show you how you have to delete your, means after everything is fine, you want to, there is no need for you to keep this Docker image in and running this container in your local, right? So or wherever you will do. So you have to delete that. Otherwise there will be no harm if it's in a local, but there's something, if it's running, then obviously it's eating up your process or something. So it would be better to delete it. So that's why. And if everything I'm doing in cloud and it's not working, then I have to wasting my 1 or 2 hours, and 1 or 2 hours in cloud is provisioning my EC2 instance will cost me, ECR will cost me. So to avoid that, I am doing it in first in local to ensure that it's working in Ubuntu and it's also working in my local. So both things will be work. I can do that in here itself. I can show you that it's both are working. So for currently my application will run in Docker in 8080, but in my local I can execute that application in 8000 by changing the port in my app.py. So I'll show you how you have to do that. So you can see that the application is running from both sides. So as after this I'll show that we don't have our model in this code. So when I'll do start run that first time, it will download the model from S3, AWS S3, and then we can execute that. Then the system will use that model to predict your things, whatever you have done, the annotations for images, finding out the safety gears. So let it complete and then we will do that, the rest of the things. Hopefully it will complete soon. There will be not too big. Yeah, so it's only the last file. So done. Let me show you that ls. Now I'll go to my YOLO v7. See, we don't have anything ls minus ltr, any of the my model over here. So that model will be download when I'll start my application. So everything is done. My AWS configure is also done. So everything is running perfectly fine. Now I have to do this, start the application. In fact, I can also see my code here. Let's go to, okay, here it is. I can see nano app.py. Oops, sorry, I think I'm doing it from the wrong folder. Go and then now nano. So let me see, while is there. Yep, so I'm in that. App.py is there. Nano app.py. So you can see that everything is the same, similar. Just go down, so you can see that in this my port is 8080. However, it's in my local also port 8080 showing. Let me change it, 800. Save it. So now the port here is, one place is port 8080 and the other port is, so this is the two different ports and two different places, even though it is in your same system, but it's a different. So let me do that. Let me start this. Okay, here also I'll start, here also I'll start. So here let me open the another terminal. So where am I? PWD. Okay, I have to go inside my environment, pointing to my environment, conda environment, and python app.py. So this one is on 8000. If you see this is 8000, and if I am doing correct, then here I have to python 3 app.py. Okay, now you can also verify that whether I am doing it correct or not. Let me start it here. So 8080, it's from my Python code. This is will be in Docker one. If I'll upload the image, do that, predict, you can see that my image will be download first, and you can also connect at the same time another terminal and see that whether it is happening or not. Let me see if I can do that. One more terminal here, and then I can go inside my this terminal. How I'll go here, this one for checking all the dockers, and then I'll go inside container name, and then go inside and then bin bash. Okay, ls cd industry, and then you can go YOLO 7 ls. Now you see what is available. Yeah, now you can see that best pt, my model, has been downloaded. In fact, this one is also coming. Now the same thing I'll do it here, because I already have done this deployment in my 8000. Let me copy this one, now paste it, and then change the number 8000. So this is in my local. I'll just do this, predict. Hopefully this one will be fast. I'm not sure, let's see. So yeah, so this is fast because there is no need for me to download. System is not downloading the same thing, but however it is giving the image. Same thing you can do with the other image as well. Some other image you will download or do that. You can go inside this industry one, and then there is some data is only this much. Okay, then archive is there, right? Artifact latest one is which one is latest? Today is 15. Anyway, let me download some other way. Data ingestion, ISD, features, images, any other image. Let's take this image. Now predict. It's hard, and here I'll do another image. Let's do this image, so you can see that there will be two results on a different way. This one is already done, seems. No, this one also it's coming. Wait. Okay, my local is already done. It is in Docker, so waiting. Yeah, so this is how you can do that deployment in your local. So any question or anything, you can let me know. One more thing I have to show you. So in Docker, just go here, and since we have the logs ls, So you can also check the logs. If there is any issue comes in, suppose there will be anything issue has been there, then you can go and check that issue. That is the reason I have installed Nano or VI. I can go inside the log and then check the log, so everything is seems fine. And here also you can see it is detecting my operating system Linux in case of Docker, and in case of Mac it is choosing Mac. In case of your Windows or any other software, it will choose this one operating system. So I hope my this video you I hope you will get what I am trying to say here. So it's easy for me to debug. This is how I debugged. I have checked my logs, what is not available. Initially it was unzip was not available, then I installed unzip. The code is not detecting the operating system, those operating system code I have added. So those things I have fixed in bits and pieces and make this workable in at least Ubuntu. So similar thing we can install it in AWS, but AWS you can install it without Docker first, means without ECR, and then if it's everything is fine, you can also do that. So in the next video I'll do that as well. I hope you will like the video. Please share it, subscribe it, and like if you like my content, and it will help me a lot. And yeah, your subscribe, if you subscribe it will motivate me, and like if you like it, it motivate me. Yep, thanks a lot. Thank